Well, today we're going to do a meditation. I'm off for a walk, and I'm going to put the meditation tape over this tape in a minute. And basically I'm going for a walk nearby our home through the woods. And I want to do a meditation today about nature and how we can connect with nature. Particularly in these troubled times with David Attenborough talking about all the terrible problems we've got in the world at the moment, and what we're likely to expect with environmental problems. I think it's a nice thought to tune into nature in a very structured and meditative way. So you can follow this walk that I go on, or you can just close your eyes and listen to the meditation when it starts. But I hope it will in some ways connect us all so that we can be a little bit closer to nature and our own true natures at the same time.
We're pretty lucky really, because our house is not that far from the woods. I mean, we go down this little road here, in a couple of seconds we're going to be in the woods. But let's have a think about what we're talking about when we think about connecting with nature first of all. Because nature, one thing, it's a lot of leaves and plants and trees and animals and things like that. But also there's something kind of conscious about nature. You've probably heard of the idea of the Gaia philosophy. I mean, Gaia was a Greek god, was really the sky god, a bit like the same god that they had in Rome. Terra was a very similar one, like terra firma and things like that. But Gaia is like the earth, the god of the earth itself, the Greek goddess of the earth, really. And it includes lots of other ideas about organisms on the planet, the idea of Gaia philosophy. There was a guy called James Lovelock that came up with this idea of the Gaia hypothesis. Now he seemed to think that there was an idea that you could that all organisms on the planet, oh there's our neighbour, all organisms on the planet could connect somehow and kind of be conscious of each other, and that collectively the planet could work together to solve its problems, so that the whole Earth in many ways was one organism. This is what he thought of it as, one organism that could self-regulate somehow. So when problems come along, the Earth itself would know. For example, I'm probably taking Lovelock's ideas a bit far here, but he would take the idea that maybe the Earth could warm itself up or cool itself down or sort itself out, basically. That the Earth really was like the old idea of being a Mother Earth. Yeah, now we're in the woods. These are the woods near us, so it's a lovely place to be able to go. I mean, I don't do so much now, but I used to go over there and meditate a bit. And there's areas, if you keep going and going through these woods, you can find places where you can sit in absolute silence in the old woods that lie right on the other side of these woods. But of course, what are they doing? They're destroying Mother Earth again. They're building here soon, and not in this area, but right in between the bit where these woods connect to the old woods, which will just destroy it. Anyway, Gaia, maybe Mother Earth is angry with us. Maybe some of the reasons we're getting things like coronavirus and other kind of natural or unnatural things, depending if it's been made in a laboratory or not, But maybe the Earth's fighting back. Maybe the Earth wants to shake us off almost, because we've become like a parasite on the Earth. So going back to this Gaia idea, Gaia is like, in a way, I like to think of it as like consciousness, that, you think, well, that tree there, it's got consciousness. It's aware, perhaps, of being that tree. That silver birch there is aware of being that silver birch. Could each individual organism have a certain self-awareness, right down to the ants and right down to the every part of this wonderful spot, And if it is all conscious, couldn't that consciousness connect? Just as people like me as a medium or a psychic and you people listening too. I mean, we often get experiences of telepathy, don't we? Of sharing a thought, of sharing an emotion. I often think, when you look at woods like this, you know, they're conscious. They're conscious of being this wood. You know, a collective consciousness of this wood. Or even the groups of trees, like all these silver birch and things, what you see here. They're all conscious of the other birch trees around them. And they form a group consciousness. This is something that Rupert Sheldrake talked about resonance. You know, that like there's a resonance between all these places. I think I saw a deer. Keep looking out for him, you'll notice. So if there can be a resonance between groups of trees, for example, or a woodland land, or even between human beings as groups, you know, the resonance between a family, the resonance between the resonance, say, between a group of people in our little estate there, or in the town itself. So we're passing one of our neighbours. So, you know, there's a collective consciousness that resonates through these woods. And couldn't it also be the fact that that resonance, that consciousness that is between all of these different species and life itself, could that not be what we could kind of extend this idea of Gaia to mean? You know, like the earth itself is conscious. I'm a great believer in all things are conscious, you know. The path of life leads only to awakening, only to consciousness. You know, it goes on and on and on, ever opening up into more and more forms of awareness. And this is, so when we think about nature and saving the planet, on the one hand, we've got to think about, you know, cleaning up all the rubbish we see around us and stop choking the Earth's atmosphere and tearing down the trees. I mean, that's self-evident. But maybe if we could reconnect it a bit with nature, then we might actually be able to increase the force of nature to replenish itself. So now let's do a little meditation. Let's do a little meditation as I'm walking along these woods and see if we can reconnect ourselves with this idea of the collective consciousness of nature, that it's all one consciousness. So imagine that you are now walking along this path with me. You might close your eyes now and maybe see your own visions of nature as we walk along the path, and hear the footsteps as we walk through the woods. And as you look to side and you see all the natural scenery, be aware of just how alive it all is. Think about what is life? What is it that animates all this? It's not just chemistry, is it? What we see around us is full of what we call beauty. But what indeed is beauty?
Too many dogs out for the deer to be seen today, I think.
What is beauty itself? And what is that life force that's in those things? Why do we find things beautiful? Why do we find nature beautiful? Why do we find certain shapes and forms and colours beautiful? Why do we find symmetry beautiful? It's because beauty is nature. We base our concepts of beauty upon nature. So what is it within yourself that is ultimately beautiful? What is beautiful within yourself is, of course, your nature, your connection with nature. And whether looking at the video or thinking in your own thoughts with your eyes closed, and you look around at all the trees around you, look at the life force in that nature. All things, including ourselves, are full of the beautiful life force. Try for a little while to connect with that idea of the life force, that idea of the prana within ourselves. Because the life force that's in me, the life force that you're feeling now within yourself, and the life force that's all around in nature, is all the same. All our individual energies and life force are connected also to the great life force of life itself, the life that lies behind everything, even in inanimate matter. So as we walk for a while, connect now to that feeling of being at one with the life force. Feel the life force. All around us is that beautiful life force. And if we can connect to that, then we have connected indeed to nature, haven't we? If we can feel that life force within ourselves and really connect with it, then we are helping the planet in ways we cannot even begin to express. Because our connection with that life force is what will help the planet to move forward. Like a seed of thought. A seed of thought that can spread out and grow. Because what we have lost touch with is the power of nature. And if each of us can somehow connect again with that power of nature, then I'm sure this is the best way we can help the planet. Because we will naturally want to not harm it. We will naturally not want to do damage to it. We won't want to pollute it. We won't want to strip Mother Nature of its bounty. We will want to put back. We will want to nurture. We will want to be gardeners of the earth. So that's my thoughts for meditation today. Simply connect. Ooh, there's a deer. Is there a deer?
Chestnuts. Not deer.
So make this your meditation for today. Maybe in your own time, in your own period of silence and meditation, you can just get into this idea that we are all the same life force. Me, you, those animals scurrying through the woods over there. We're all the same. We're all part of nature. We cannot be separate from it. Even if we're sitting in the middle of London or New York or LA, we are still at heart that same life force. That same life
from the city here, of course, but you take the muddy paths, you can get away from people. There's the school. Yeah.
Very hard to find solitude nowadays in any place, even within the woods. But all of us do have ultimately a place of solitude within ourselves, particularly if we learn to meditate. We go to that meditative spot within ourselves where we can be at silent with ourselves. And then when we relax and we let go of our thoughts and our worries and our stresses, then maybe nature comes back to us in its own way. Because that's what we are at heart. When we look to our depths of our being, we are, first and foremost, the life force itself, the prana energy. And we look through that, and beyond that, we are consciousness that shines through the life force. And we look to that consciousness to know what it is, and we realise that it and we are divinity. So now let's just enjoy the walk.
Sadly, these woods have been destroyed since they put a couple of paths through. It means it's loaded with dog water to walkers on those paths. It was all muddy like this before. Nobody went in here. And you could actually walk pretty much without going any near houses all the way from Eastleigh to Winchester. It's all being filled in now by awful developments. The deer have got nowhere to go, of course.
Of course, the Earth's been here a very long time. These woods are probably just hundreds of years old at the best. Sometimes I like to think about the sheer scale of how long it took for all of this to evolve.
Well, some do obviously from the mud. What's that?
I'm looking for a deer.
There's a bit more remote part of the woods further back, and I just sometimes just sit up there quietly, and it's away from all the traffic sound and things, and you can just sit there. You have to take about half an hour, but eventually the deer come up to you. They come right up, so they're still pretty tame, but they're getting driven away now. I say too many dogs, too much building going on nearby. Terrible the way they tear it all down. Only doing quite a short walk today.
I remember as a child sitting in the New Forest, and you'd be very quiet and still, and you could sit there long enough, the deer would come right up to you, literally right up to you, as long as you sat downwind of them so they couldn't smell you. I mean, we miss all that, don't we? As children, we naturally connect with nature. You think about it, we've been here such a long time. Some of the oldest fossils are about 3.5 billion years old, you know. Life might have begun even earlier. They reckon 4 billion years ago this all started. 4 billion years ago life started. You can't possibly conceive that, can we? Such huge lengths of time. Such huge lengths of time.
We're in Stoke Park Woods near our house in Eastleigh. It's only you've seen how close it is, very close to us. Yeah, this is Bishopstoke near Eastleigh, you know. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's typical English sort of woodland. Nearby us, of course, we've got the New Forest, and that's fantastic. That's an ancient woodland set up by William the Conqueror as hunting. William the Conqueror, I was just reading a book about Yogananda, who says he believed he was the reincarnation of William the Conqueror. He was told that by his guru of gurus, as it were, Babaji, who I had a dream about the other night, funnily enough. But, yeah, feels good in the woods, doesn't it? No big mature trees here.
Of course, we as humans haven't been around that long, really, when you think about it, in terms of the length of those great stretches of time when life first evolved. I mean,
when I'm in the woods, I always think of prehistoric times, how long it took for these woods to be made, even in the simple form we see them here. But what was it before? When dinosaurs roamed this place, or it was under the sea, this area. It's because there's sand underneath this and chalk nearby. Right, dodgy bit.
I think humans have been around for about 55 million years, that's about it. First primitive primates evolved, you know, and then 6 to 8 million years ago the first gorillas evolved, and chimps and human lineages, but that's a pretty short time when you think about all the billions of years that life has been taking to evolve. It makes me wonder that there wasn't something that intervened in that. Something perhaps from another planet, maybe. Or more likely, I think consciousness evolves.
Doggy land, I expect now. But, when this was all mud path, not long ago, it used to feel like it was my own woods, you know, you could completely go into solitude here. Particularly when the kids were young, they loved it over here, building dens and things.
It makes me wonder how behaviour can evolve between species, you know. How do we pass on memories?
It's good that you put paths in so people can get at it. You know, for the disabled and everything, that's understandable, but I don't know, awful lot gets taken away, particularly in England where we have such limited forest areas, wood areas, this would be. You can never get away from the sound of traffic. Not anymore.
Fraction of time in the history of Earth we've destroyed the planet, though, when you think about it. It's been there all those millions of years. We're making it so. The Earth is killing us. Ruining the air, ruining the seas. I just don't know how we can do it. You know, we are the most dangerous thing.
If you find this video interesting, put a comment, because if you like me doing this type of thing, I'll take you for the long walks right the way up through Winchester and things, and you can see the rivers and things like that that's en route, which is rather lovely. I quite like the idea of just doing
What's that? A deer, a deer. No.
I like doing the idea of doing just a few videos of just simple walks, if you're into that, guys. Yeah, on the Patreon site and things, we can put them on there. Let's share some time with me and Jane. It's not easy getting Jane walking, she finds it harder nowadays on her foot.
There it goes again. Bloody noise, racket.
You just can't get away from it. Just can't get away from it. I think some of the most beautiful parts of England have really been destroyed. You know, we destroyed Scotland and Wales in the Industrial Revolution because that was all covered in trees. Before, at the same time, before that with the Armada, we cut down all the oak. And so they did it all in Spain. Spain was all covered in trees. Germany was nearly all forest. And it's all gone now. No wolves or bears or anything like that. Just plastic sort of buildings like these ones up ahead. It's sad. Pigeon. We had a couple of doves nest in our garden actually. They're rather nice because during this lockdown it was really nice to have nature sort of come back for a short while, and I couldn't believe how blue the skies went without all the aeroplane pollution. And I'm just watching that, Randy, because you can get Lyme's disease from the ticks, so watch it. Yeah, so we had 2 doves nest in our garden twice, and they've had 2 broods. I mean, we were watching them, Jane and I, the other day, and it was absolutely lovely to watch them nest. You know, and the mother sat on that nest all day long. Then we were really worried because we thought one of the, we think they're rooks that come into our garden, and we feed them every day. They're regulars. They sit there waiting for us to bring food out. But when those rooks came, we thought they got the young and killed them. We heard a load of commotion, and yeah, it was, but they were all right in the end.
Hi.
A couple of our neighbours, I think. I only just caught a glimpse, but yeah, it's nice that they walk as well. I mean, it's not just for me, is it? It's for everybody, it's the same. We just need to plant more of it, really. Plant more. I suppose a lot of it's like David Attenborough says, that's the back of the school there. Yeah, like David Attenborough said, one of the problems we have, he said this in another video some while back, all the problems of the world are basically because there's too many of us. Simple as that. You know, how do we change that? Peacefully, without war and disease and coronaviruses, you know? Nature's going to force us to change if we don't do something. I think that's the thing we've got to do. And actually, I also remember they talked in the 60s about the limits of growth, you know. And, oh, look at that den they've built there. Let's look at that. Yeah, the limits of growth. Talking about that right back in the 60s, that, you know, we're not going to be able to keep on like this. But one of the things that came up is, once you get an affluent society, well, that's nice, isn't it? It's the sort of thing our kids did. Yeah, once you get an affluent society, the populations decrease naturally. I'm just going to go for a walk around the world. Bear with me.
What's he up to? What are you up to? Should have left those mushrooms behind. Whoops.
So that was fun, except for the fact I tripped, but never mind. I'm working with a camera here that's called a 360 camera, so it means that, you know, you can set it up and it's like having a cameraman with you. It's only me. Domenico's not with me, only when filming. Well, I'm no gear today, and I hope you enjoyed the voiceover today that I've been putting over this. I mean, it's my intention. I'm not doing the voiceover as we walk, but just to share a few thoughts and a meditation about the world and where we're going. I hope actually those are the patrons that are watching this. I'm going to do that Zoom thing soon, very soon. We've just got some big things happening in the background that we've got to sort out, which are positive things, but take our time. And I'm going to do a meditation and question and answers on Zoom. So watch out for the post on Patreon. So as soon as I've got these other things out of the way, we'll do that. God, I'm getting out of breath. I've hardly walked anywhere. I walked for years with my friends, and then I joined the Ramblers for a while. Friends who had other commitments, and wives were giving them commitments, and I ended up joining the Ramblers for a while. That was quite good. Not quite my type of people in terms of their thoughts, much more involved in thoughts about offices and work and retirement and talking about illnesses all the time, which I don't think is a good thing. And but they do some good work though here in the UK. I tend to, even though I don't go with them much, I might just buy a membership just to support them. It's quite a nice idea to do something like that, I think, because they keep the byways open. Only about £35 odd a year, or £800 for a lifetime, I think. But our time gets taken away in this world, doesn't it? We are coming back to the real world, as it were, back to the back of our house again. Only a short little walk there, but it just gives you a taster. And this is where people hang the dog poo all the time. Never throw it away. We have a dog, but you can see that I don't like bad dog owners, those that don't pay attention. We had a dog called William. He used to hate me. He was there before I met Jane. I was his nemesis. He was funny. Jack Russell. And a cross between Jack Russell and Dachshund. Again, I suppose I can't complain really, because these houses were built on farmland, weren't they, where we live. It's like these people during the COVID outbreak complaining of too many people on the beach. And yet they were on the beach. Hiya. Freddy Krueger, we call those creatures over there. Oh, that taste. Right.
well, that was fun. Only a short walk, but I hope you enjoyed that. And if you like these sort of things, I mean, obviously this isn't the normal stuff we do on the channel because we're not doing the live today, but if you like it, or you like this style of video, let me know. And thanks for joining me. And don't forget, follow the channel. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. We got live stuff. We've also substantially increased the donations that have come in for the for our foundation, and very, very soon we're going to have some really fantastic facilities, our camera facilities, our kind of our first online, how can you say, online temple, I suppose you call it, online ashram, online centre. So we'll be bringing people in to join me and Jane, and you too, through the live, through the Zoom as well, we'll be doing that. So keep following us, because there's lots and lots happening on this channel. This is not an ordinary channel. This is not the sort of typical psychics holding up tarot cards channel. This is a channel that's actually trying to do something for the world and trying to help on a charitable sort of way as well. But also, you know, we're going to be offering you some fantastic content. So do follow us. If you like it, click the like button, follow us, and share it on Facebook and so forth. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this video, then follow Jane and I on our adventures around the world by subscribing. You can click that button, or you can click the little bell thingy on the main page, and then you'll get regular updates every time we upload something new. Like the page and also make your comments. We look forward to seeing you next time.